What's going on, gamers? So we have another video here about Sony here, and it's an interesting one because the headline says PlayStation 5 is a letdown in terms of first-party exclusive, fans say. It's literally released today. We got a lot of stuff going on, and then there's people that probably couldn't handle that last video either because what I want them to do better and be more impactful. Like this one guy came on my channel, yeah, you just want the goat energy. hmm I do, but there's some people that are soft, like I said. I mean, I've seen people like what some people say I'm on a Nintendo trip. I've seen channels that bash Nintendo daily. I've never unsubbed to them. So what? That's the duality of man, right? Everything only needs to be positive one way. It's like, wake up, man. And some people are just weak-minded. They can't handle something on a screen. It's like, grow up. Child, getting that butthurt over a plastic toy. Anyways, let's be grown, mature individuals over here. 5 years after the launch, have been listening while ponies sit down. The PlayStation 5 leaves much to be desired. At least y'all handling what I'm saying daily, and some of you even sub to me, talking to me. Yeah, you're strong. I have to say, I gotta respect that. But for certain people who can't do that on the other sides, yeah, you're just weak because it's the same thing, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I attack any fanboy, and I'm gonna criticize any corporation that pisses me off. Some people may not agree with me. I don't care. You're bound to come on my channel. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you that you can't. You can say whatever you want. See? I can handle it. You want to come bash Nintendo because you think that's going to hurt my feelings? Dude, people have been on my streams every night, consistently harassing me. You know what I mean? Talking all of that trash. But I don't care. You know what I mean? Because I know that's just part of the game. You signed up for it. You know what I mean? You clicked on my video. You get mad. It's like, what? You know how much positivity I've done, though, for Microsoft? Yeah, this is what I mean by the imbalance of people. You want to do one video. You don't have a right to do that. Man, get out of here. Weak ass fanboys. You're not finna see me apologize either, because for what? Do nothing wrong. While there's no shortage of great games to play this generation, one can't help but notice the scant PlayStation Studios output, especially in comparison to the PS3 and PS4 eras. I agree, because there's an inconsistency, because there's too much holes, because they canceled too many games by putting too many games on a suicide mission. You want to talk about a Suicide Squad? Yeah, that fits the mission that Jim Ryan was going on with on PlayStation with the live service. It is suicide. You got to get back to what you're good at doing, Sony, and that's making good first-party single-player games. Everybody was used to that. That's your whole DNA of growing from PS3 to PS4 to PS5. And that's what Western society was used to more than anything. Japan's been disappointed because they know you're not going to cater to them. That's why they're mostly Nintendo. But definitely your basis over here. I mean, it says PS5 is a letdown in terms of first party for that specific reason. And it's not that you didn't have the teams. You still have the same teams you had last gen. As a matter of fact, you guys could have been making some fire games. But what you did instead is, like I said, you went way too off the deep end. So yeah, even your own fans are saying that. And certain fanboys, no matter what side, they're not going to ever say anything or criticize the company because they're too blind without realizing that if the company had that, it would be able to improve. If you need to improve on life because you're not God and you're not perfect, and you don't want nobody to ever criticize you, how could you ever know you needed to improve? Yeah, how could you grow if you don't think you need any improvements? You think everything's fine, no matter what. You just accept everything. That's not the way to be at the highest quality. Professional criticism from the community is good. There used to be a normal thing back then when real men were more in the industry and not these beta males all over the place. They can't do that and get mad because you criticize a corporation that just wants to take their money and look at them as a number, and that's it, in a dream. It's like ridiculous, man. Or some monthly active user or something. That's it. That's all you are. You know what I mean? And it's just profit. They don't give a damn about anything else. They ain't your friend. Um, so yeah, that always blows my mind, guys. Now let's continue down here. PlayStation 5 first-party exclusive slate bogged down by misadventures. The latest discourse was sparked by a Forbes article and has been making rounds on gaming forums in light of Marathon's development troubles and delay. So the interesting thing is that we're going to click on the article that takes us from that. This goes over here. What happened with PlayStation 5 exclusives this generation? This is where the thread started 2 days ago on Reddit, and this was by a person who has the RPS3 aspect. So the PS3 had hundreds of PlayStation exclusive games: Gorilla, Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog, Media Monaco, Santa Monica, San Diego. They all released multiple games during the PS3 era. Online was free too. Japan Studio was alive. What happened to the PlayStation that I used to love, man? No, I understand. I mean, yeah, it sucks, man. Because like I said, I don't want to see any company that I knew that was great get turned into what you're seeing now. And it's like, what is this? You got to recover and get back your identity and get back to doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Get back to gaming. So this service initiative was a complete failure and resulted in like 10 canceled games. Yeah, I mean, just even imagine if four wasn't canceled and those were single player games. They could have launched an extra game last year, two this year, and that would have still been better because Sony games are always kind of like these big present hits. They don't release a whole lot, but they could have had that. They could have also had like Naughty Dog already have their game coming out this year, and it could have been a game of the year contender. Like there just could have been so much going on. Damn, there's a lot of thunder going on outside to where this generation wouldn't have been disappointed from looking at what Sony is outputting. And I'll hear people come and tell me, and it's the same thing like I tell anybody on any console side that I criticize. I get what you're saying, but Sony is supposed to be improving their first party every generation from PS3. It's supposed to get better and better and better. And you didn't get that. Don't sit here and come and tell me that, oh, but it sold this much. Yeah, it did. And congratulations, they did win on that aspect. They delivered on that specific hardware sales factor. But there's other factors, software, which is the most important thing. I think software sales are more important than hardware sales. I've always said that because that's what people are playing and that's what they can spend more money on. Not that I even want to look at it that way, but I'm just saying from a business, every standpoint you can look at. If there's no good games, nobody cares about the device. There's no point. I'm not getting to the device to stare at it. It's about the great games. So I'm looking, I want good developers. I want good developed video games. And Sony has not delivered that to their base from what they were doing for PlayStation. They did much better for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. What they're doing to their base in the PS5 generation is nowhere near as good as what they did with PS4 and PS3. And there was better leadership. That organization was still there. That breakout didn't happen. Japan and the Western society were synced with communication. There was no live service even existing, and when there was, it's because they naturally wanted to do it. They didn't go on a goose chase. All these things actually matter. So it's not that Sony didn't have the talent, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the capabilities, they didn't have the staff. They had everything they needed. It was just making that stupid bad decision to chase a whole bunch of live service games to try to get their own little Fortnite or Call of Duty that can constantly be up and add in more one. They were thinking about trying to dominate the whole world and industry with that, and it's not like that. It's foolish because it's like you've never shown that you were masters at this to where you can make something so good that the whole world has to play it, and they look forward to more live service games from Sony. You've had too many hiccups, so that's why I feel like that sometimes when that happens and it gets too complicated, there's nothing wrong with taking a step back and going back to simple aspects and then get back to that. But not, let's just churn up some more live services and turn them all up again. What? I would say you're insane if you did that. Because where have you shown that you're so confident enough to realize that all of them are going to be successful? And you shouldn't do so many at once. It should have been a couple single player games and then a live service games, two more single player games and maybe a live service game or something like that. Not just all live service, you know what I mean? Because that to me is just jumping off the tightrope and just falling right off. And I think a lot of people were disappointed for that because they realized that Sony could have had a golden generation, but they let those windows in the past 2 years slip. And it has just been terribly disappointing. And third party was carrying. And when I see that, guys, let's be real. That's why I say that I love Nintendo the most. Okay, I could just get third party on my PC. That's what I said. Same thing with the new Xbox. Okay, I can do this on my PC then. If you guys want to play these stupid little games, I'll just go on my PC. Because third party means PC is third party king. I just keep it real over here. And then Nintendo's first party king. That's the point of a console. If there's no exclusives, what is the point? I do not see a point of a console without exclusives today. And when you look at the Xbox world and PlayStation worlds, I see exclusives getting weaker and weaker. And that just to me means that PC is just more powerful then. Because if you don't have that, that's why I don't blame Sony for strengthening their PS4, PS5, PS6 ecosystem. Because yeah, if you take that away, then PC's just an easy choice. But they're going to have money hats, exclusives, and all that. That's why you have to get it. And I like that because eventually that means that, listen, because if they didn't exist, those games would probably not exist. And eventually, think about it, that time deal, that has to hit zero one day and you're going to get it. But if you remove that, then those ideas never manifest in Asia because you need the Asian manifestations from Nintendo and Sony. This is what people are not understanding. You can't get rid of that. If you do, you lose so much. You have to know the way that the industry works. It's that you want them to be better in certain ways. like any other company. But yeah, my thing is that Sony has to get their exclusives together, because the future, when eventually hardware goes away, this is still far in the future, it's going to be how good is your games, because third party could just be anywhere. Then if there's no hardware, then it's Nintendo has the biggest advantage. They're the best developers. Now there's no technology differences. You can play everything maxed out. Then whose services are you choosing? You see what I mean? Like, I am looking in the future, and I understand that. And I understand the market right now. So yeah, Sony has to get their first party together. Like, that's very important for the future of PlayStation. Nobody can rob you either of your first party, because it's yours. You can't come monopolize that. It ain't third party open. You know what I mean? If Sony did focus on that more and had their Killzone still going with SOCOM, Warhawk, all these shooters they had, Siphon Filter, they could have already been fine without Call of Duty, but no, they wanted to try stupid goose chases of new IPs and all this political, stupid, necessary nonsense that it's like, get back to gaming. And I say that to both companies, because all that does is lead to more layoffs and more unqualified distractions that are not getting you focused on gaming. This is stupid. Let's get back to gaming. And I'm not wrong, because I want to see all companies do better, and I come in and I criticize them, just like a coach would get on his player's ass if he got out of line. That's why I think all y'all are just weak, because these people that get mad when I come in and slam a company, because you remind me of somebody that just lets people run around and it's all okay, and you accept slop and garbage, and you don't fight for anything. You don't stand up. You don't have a voice against anything, except the company that you probably have a problem with. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, do you want to accept this, or do you want better? I'm asking a serious question here to a lot of these people on all factions and gaming sides. Because it's saying a lot about what you accept, because that's what they're looking at. You're telling them what you accept. So they know what they can do, because you already told them about what you didn't do and what you did allow. So yeah, looking at some of these cancels, I mean, God of War gas. This should not exist. No. Spideyverse stupid. No. You better off working on another single player game that you could have had out. Twisted Metal, that would have made sense. Concord, yeah, we already know. God of War gas, like I said, stupid. You would have been better off getting them to work on some remake or something, or some PlayStation 1, you know what I mean, remake. Horizon, same thing. Dude, the game has a bow and a damn spear. Like, come on, man. No, get more creative. Do something different than that. Once again, work on something else. You would have been better off doing some, like, shooter or something. You see what I mean? Because that makes more sense. Horizon is so limited. I love the series, but it's not a series where you can get very creative with. I just don't know how they're going to do this. Please blow my mind with traps and however you plan on doing this, but Aloy is not an attractive character. I mean, how are you going to do the story? I mean, it's cool for like the cinematic immersive aspects that you had running around an environment and all of that, but I don't know about no live service for that. But yeah, this is just to talk about why this was disappointing, how PlayStation is a letdown. In the early days of PS5, there was a running joke about Insomniac games carrying first-party output, and they were. It's like they were just doing the movie thing, like the movies are surviving right now off of big Marvel hits. You know what I mean? But outside of that, it's like, develop some games, though, like, you know, your own mascots. Like, all their games, Nintendo games, are big. And they're their games. Not, you know, Spider-Man's already in the world. He's been in the world. Everybody knows who he is. But you need to do more stuff like Last of Us and all of that. Like, Sony needs to be impactful. They need to make their development department powerful. If they don't, then they're going to be in trouble in the future, because like I said, you can't rely off of hardware forever. And even that doesn't make you that much money. So, but you want that because that leads to install bases, software, subscriptions, all that. That's why that stuff's important, obviously. So them and Nintendo, obviously the healthy heads of the industry when it comes to sales growth and all of that. But Sony just needs to get their stuff together. And I would just like to see Microsoft, you know, just be more impactful in their reveals. And that's not negative. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. It's interesting seeing people say that they're let down. It's like I said, there's that's where I found this at, increased amount of PlayStation fans, Sony's expensive live service misadventures, all these sorts of things. But will they turn things around in the next few years? I think they're going to try to push for what they did with the PS4 and have a strong finish. We'll see, though. But let me know what you guys think of this, all right? Like, comment, subscribe. You have a great day. Peace out. Ponies, you sit down.